May 19th, 1536. Within the stone walls of the Tower of London, one of history's most shocking executions is about to take place. But this is no ordinary execution. The person to be executed is a queen, and what is even more terrifying is that everyone knows she is innocent. Today I will tell you the story of Anne Boleyn. But this will not be the story you know, because Anne's real tragedy lies not in the blow of the sword, but in how she came to be there. Anne Boleyn was not born to be queen. In fact, she was not even meant to go down in history. As the daughter of a middle-class noble family, she was expected to marry an Irish lord and fade into obscurity. But when she returned from France in 1522, the Tudor court had never seen a woman like her. Her French sophistication, sharp mind, and captivating charm caught everyone's attention, especially Henry VIII's. This is where Anne's intelligence shines through. When the king wanted to make her his mistress, she delivered the boldest refusal in history. "I will not be your mistress. If you want my heart and body, give me a crown." A woman speaking so boldly to a king in the 1520s? Incredible, but it worked. Henry's obsession with Anne grew so strong that he fought with the Pope over it, broke away from the Catholic Church, and changed the entire religious structure of England. He destroyed 500 years of tradition, all for a woman he admired. When Anne became pregnant in 1533, Henry secretly married her. He had finally won. She had risen from being the daughter of an obscure diplomat to Queen of England, captured the king's heart, and changed the course of history. But here the story takes a dark turn. September 1533. Anne gives birth to a baby. Henry is expecting a male heir, but it's a girl, the future Elizabeth I. The disappointment is clear, but it's not yet the breaking point. Then, in 1534, she miscarries. In 1535, she becomes pregnant again, this time with a boy. Henry is filled with hope, but that baby is also lost. It is this miscarriage that turns everything upside down. In the king's eyes, Anne is no longer the captivating woman for whom he risked everything. She is a failed wife, an inadequate queen. Worse still, he is now a king who has antagonized the Pope, divided his country, yet failed to secure a male heir. And it is precisely at this point that the most dangerous man in the court steps in, Thomas Cromwell. Cromwell is colder than even a modern Machiavelli. He understands that the only way to finish Anne is to completely destroy her. Her reputation, her honor, even her very existence must be erased. In April 1536, a trap is set. Anne's alleged inappropriate behavior is investigated, but the accusations are so absurd that no court today would accept them. Adultery with 5 men, one of them being her own brother, George Boleyn, plotting to kill the king, witchcraft, all of it fabricated, all of it lies, and everyone knows it, but no one dares to say anything. On May 2nd, 1536, Anne is arrested and taken to the Tower of London. The place where she was crowned queen just 3 years earlier is now her prison. Anne's real torture is not physical, but psychological, and that is far more cruel. First, complete isolation. She is cut off from her supporters, her family, the whole world. In her cramped cell in the tower, she is left with only a few loyal ladies-in-waiting. Second, sleep deprivation, day and night interrogations, trial preparations, relentless psychological pressure. Anne requests a service at 2 a.m. on the last night before her execution. She has been unable to sleep for nearly 24 hours. Third, and perhaps the most cruel, the constant postponement of the execution date. Anne prepares herself for death, then it is postponed. She prepares again, then it is postponed again. This is a classic method used in modern torture techniques. Uncertainty, loss of control, constant tension. The May 15th trial is a complete sham. Anne has no right to hire a lawyer, no right to confront witnesses. The jury is made up entirely of political enemies. Still, Anne defends herself with such intelligence that one witness says she looked not like a woman, but like an angel. But the verdict is already decided. Anne knows she will die as a result of the slander. The morning of May 19th, 1536. Anne wakes up to her last day. Even her clothes are strategic, a red corset underneath, a dark gray cloak on top. Colors that won't show the blood. Dignity and practicality combined. At one point she jokes, I hear the executioner is very good. I have a small and delicate neck. But imagine what she is going through inside. You are 35 years old. You know you are innocent. Everyone knows it. But your head will still be cut off in the afternoon. How would you feel in this situation? At noon, the drums beat. It is time to go to Tower Green. The scaffold is unusually low. This is no coincidence. It keeps Anne closer to the crowd, lowering her further. The mother removes her cloak. She gives the executioner a gold pouch, payment for a job well done. Then she kneels. Her eyes are blindfolded. Her lips pray, "Lord, receive my soul." The executioner plays a clever trick. "Where is my sword?" he asks. And when the mother turns her head in that direction, a single blow. The sword severs her slender neck, separating her head from her body. A moment of deep silence. Then a collective gasp from the crowd. The executioner raises the head. "May the king's enemies meet the same fate." But the usual cries of approval do not come. A restless murmur rises from the people. Now the most terrifying part begins. Not even a proper coffin has been prepared for Anne. Her ladies-in-waiting hastily find an empty arrow chest and place her body inside. Her head is laid beside her body. She is taken to St. Peter ad Vincula Chapel and buried in an unmarked grave, without a headstone. But physical death is not enough. Henry wants to erase Anne from memory as well. All portraits are being destroyed. Symbols on the palace walls are being scraped off. Her name is being erased from official records. No one is allowed to mention her anymore. And the most cruel detail, as soon as Anne's execution is complete, a cannon is fired from the tower. This signals Henry, waiting at Whitehall Palace. You are now free to remarry. The next day he becomes engaged to Jane Seymour. 10 days later, they marry. But here's the most ironic part of the story. Henry managed to destroy everything. But there was one thing he couldn't destroy: his daughter. 23 years later, in 1558, Anne's disappointment, Elizabeth, ascends to the English throne. And for 45 years, she rules England in such a way that the Elizabeth era is known as England's Golden Age. Shakespeare writes during this period, the Spanish Armada is defeated, and England becomes a world power. Elizabeth achieved what her father never could, and she did so deliberately, by adopting her mother's white falcon emblem, embodying her mother's traits, and learning from her mother's fate by never marrying. Anne Boleyn's true victory lay not in her own life, but in her daughter's reign. Today, at the Tower of London, where she was executed, there is a simple glass plaque. Every year on the anniversary of her death, people leave roses there. Because Anne is not just a tragic figure, she is a symbol of historical injustice, of the price paid by powerful women, and ultimately of the triumph of truth. Henry tried to erase her from memory, but 500 years later, Anne Boleyn is still talked about, researched, remembered. Henry, he is remembered only as the cruel man who killed her. Anne Boleyn's story teaches us this: power can change reality for a time. Those who write history may win in the short term, but in the end, the truth emerges. And sometimes the greatest victory is to continue to exist, even when attempts are made to destroy you. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. I'm curious to hear what you think about Anne Boleyn in the comments. See you in the next video.